just as a broadcaster, I mean, obviously we're, and I represent, speak specifically about pay TV, the movie network, for example. You know, because we're a premium broadcast service, we tend to look and adopt new technologies ahead of the curve. I mean, we've been doing HD for 10 years. We did an on-demand service, you know, back in 2004. So we're very much ahead of the curve. And some of the challenges that we face is obviously there has to be a standard technology because, you know, with 1 million plus subs, we have to make sure that everyone has access to, you know, the 3D technology. We have to make sure there's enough sets, there's a sufficiently large installed base so that it makes sense for us to offer the service because obviously there are considerable costs. And of course, lastly, we need content, we need sufficient content. I mean, our original foray into HD, it was specific telecasts and the service was blank for a considerable period of time. It wasn't really until 2005 that we had a 24-hour HD service. So we need sufficient content. So those pieces are starting to come together and I'm very excited to see. And if anyone has time, obviously there's a great lounge across the street, but the Sony store, actually in the Rideau Center, has a 3D set up, and that's going to be coming to the marketplace very soon, and that's very real. So that's very exciting from our perspective to see, you know, this really immersive, cutting-edge technology, which we think would add value to our service, which we would want to unroll and give to our subscribers, becoming very real. So that's very exciting, and some of the work that Canadians have done in terms of creating content is leading edge and is world renowned. So we think we're well positioned to take advantage of that once those precursors are in place.
It's interesting. I'll let you finish.
No, I was just going to ask, would it be helpful just to talk about the core technologies that are coming to market?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Sony is an example of this, where we're going to start seeing default 3D equipment. And what I mean by that is this. It used to be that LCD panels, which are the mainstay of HD TVs, were actually holding 3D back because the way, right now the dominant technology is LCD shutter glass. It's one of the dominant technologies. And the way it works is that you'll notice that the lenses are dark. They alternate between a dark phase and a transparent phase. And it alternates left, right, left, right, left, right very quickly. So fast, in fact, that your brain doesn't pick up on this, and you get this full stereoscopic 3D experience by combining the left and right image. Now, as I mentioned, LCD panels, for the longest time, were not capable of supporting this technology. It just wasn't fast enough to keep up with the glasses. Well, it started in the computer display or the gaming display market. We're starting to see manufacturers put out 120 hertz capable displays, meaning that each lens, it will be fast enough for each lens to alternate 60 times per eye, which is at a full 1080p resolution, which is exactly what, you know, the filmmakers wanted, and of course from a 3D experience point of view, what the consumers wanted as well. So what's key here is from the display makers, they're actually coming up with this as default technology. You know, Sony, LG has polarized solutions as well, but LG, you know, has 120 hertz displays as well. Samsung, I mean, there's a whole list of top manufacturers, and from their point of view, it's just upgrading the LCD technology. It's not necessarily coming up with a whole new technology class. So it's 3D ready TVs really are the future.
Yeah. Adding on to that, the first 3D ready TV should be shipping in about a week, I believe, and it's going to be a Samsung. What happened was 3D ready TVs were not really ready to come out this fast. They wanted some more time to do some more research and figure out the best way to do it. And then, as one of the panelists mentioned, ESPN is going to broadcast the World Cup in June. It's kind of like the chicken before the egg thing, where you needed content before you can actually make it. Well, what happened was once this broadcast was announced, that accelerated TVs to the market, which meant now we're going to have TVs sooner than what we thought, which is great because now we can enjoy the technology in home. So.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have just recently bought HD TVs and you know, don't want to go out and buy another one, but I think what will really, we talk to broadcasters worldwide to encourage them to get into this space, but what is driving it initially is gaming. Gamers, hey, drop another $1,000 on a TV, and it's 3D. That's an easy sell. Gaming is driving it into the home, and also Blu-ray. So we're going to see this year all the Disney, DreamWorks animated films on 3D coming out on Blu-ray, and Avatar is certainly going to drive that into the home. So you'll buy the Avatar Blu-ray, 3D Blu-ray, and get the set, and they'll package it with Panasonic TVs, and the studios will do deals to get their Blu-ray discs out with the TV sets. And then premium events like sports, because sports has a built-in fan base that's really enthusiastic about technology. They want the biggest TV, the highest definition, and so that's driving it. And what we're going to see with the World Cup is it's not likely going to be broadcasting to your home in Canada in June. You know, there might, but that's not likely. But you'll see it in bars with TVs. You'll see it in cinema. You'll see it in public places where you can go. And the World Cup is a really big group activity, so watching 3D is actually a natural way. In the U.S., it will be different. It will be broadcast, and there's going to be a huge push. People buying the TVs 2 weeks out. You know, in May, beginning of June, people are going to be grabbing the TVs, putting them in their house. In the UK, they've already started broadcasting the Six Nations rugby, the soccer, or football, as they call it. They've already started broadcasting it, but clearly people don't have the TVs in their home today, but within a few months they will start to, because the soccer fans want it. But they've done it to bars, so they send out TVs to the bars because they know that audience will see it, they'll go, yeah, I want it.
Actually, on Sky, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, broadcasted Manchester United and Arsenal. Yeah, and one of my friends in the UK actually got that game on his Sky broadcast box. They broadcasted it in 2D and 3D, but nobody knew what was going on with the 3D thing. They just didn't have enough drinks to see the 3D. But it was a huge hit. There were, I believe, 9 pubs that got the broadcast. And one of my buddies, I sent him to the pub for me because I couldn't be there, although I would have paid any price to see it in 3D. And he said it was just unbelievable being able to see this. What really stood out for him was the logos at the beginning of the game were rotating, and they came off the screen rotating. And then they actually had stereoscopic cameras at the game, and they zoomed in on Rooney, and you can really see him up front. So, by the way, I'm biased. I am a Man U fan. So.
But this is a good segue into the other factor, which is that 3D production is getting a lot easier. I mean, sports events are a perfect example because you already have multiple cameras. The fact that feature films are more and more becoming animated films. I mean, Avatar is a perfect example of that. It's almost entirely CG. CG content, it's trivial turning it into 3D. I'm an animator. Animation's fantastic for creating 3D. You have perfect control over the 3D. And games, which I totally agree. It's going to be games and Blu-rays that's going to drive this. At least the television part of it is that the games are already CG. It's trivial turning them, creating good 3D content for. Oh, I shouldn't say trivial. It's hard work actually, but it just makes it look easy. Yeah, that's right. But the tools are there. I mean, the tools, even for independent filmmakers now, the tools for 3D film production are becoming less and less expensive. There's all kinds of tools that are coming on the market this year for 3D production. It's really getting to the point where that production and the distribution opportunities are going to just drive each other.